Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Tools for Transformation. This is part 4 of our series, Harnessing the Power of Change to Create the Life that you desire. So in the first week, we talked about how to harness that power. And we addressed a number of ways to do that. Probably the most powerful was clearing the clutter in our life, the emotional, the physical, the mental, and making room for what we want to bring into our life. And then on the following week, we talked about releasing what's not working in your life. By releasing what's not working, we're able to make room and bring in more of what is working. And last week we talked about releasing your resistance to change. It's a powerful one because for most of us, the reason we don't make the changes that we know will transform us and change our life, it's because we're just resistant. We're resistant. We don't know what our life will look like if and when we make the changes. Now, today's topic is taking action. We talked about all the steps that we need to take. But today we're talking about taking action. So before we get into today's topic, it is important that I address the impending circumstances that we are facing here in South Florida. Excuse me. We do have a huge Category 5 hurricane heading in our direction. It's still uncertain as to the extent of the direction that it will be taking, but it is a powerful storm nonetheless, and we need to respect it and be prepared for it. And yesterday I was putting a post up on Facebook, and I was thinking about how we are sitting here watching and waiting. We, on the bright side, we have plenty of time to prepare for the storm and get our supplies and get things in order. And on the opposite side, we are sitting here just watching and waiting for this dramatic impact in our life. And this is such a metaphor for our lives, because how often do we know there is something pending, some major transition in our life, and there are so many that we're dealing with on a day-to-day, and we're all dealing with one or the other at any given time, at least, and we are waiting and watching for things to develop before they actually happen. And it's really very powerful, because this is not a time where we can be patient. It's very difficult to be patient during times like this. And of course, a lot of fear and panic sets in, not knowing what that outcome will be. And that is exactly why so many of us don't make the changes that we need to make in our life. And we do resist making them, and we resist change the way we do, is because we don't know what the outcome is going to look like. And we're afraid of what's on the other side. And it's totally understandable. Totally. But here, there's a lot of panic in the stores yesterday. People were panicked jumping over each other to get cases of water, long lines in the gas stations, and you can feel the panic in the air. But panic is just fear turned inside out. And it doesn't really help us get through this transition. So in my post yesterday, I made a few notes as to how we can relieve some of that angst that comes with the watching and the waiting. Some of that angst with not knowing what the outcome is, but knowing that something is going to happen and we don't have any control over it. Truth be told, this happens in our life every day. When we go to sleep at night, we don't know what the next day will bring. But we have learned to accept that, and we've learned to deal with that. And so when something major does happen, we have to take into consideration that there are some things that we can do to take some control, not necessarily over the outcome, but of how we deal with it and how it affects our life. So the pointers that I offered yesterday in getting through Hurricane Irma, or at least getting through the watching and waiting period, is to have a plan. And this is as with most transitions in our life, with most of any changes, we need to have a plan. Put a plan in place. As I said, we cannot predict the outcome in most cases, but when we can put a plan in place for the different scenarios, at least we feel like we have some control over how it will, whatever the circumstances, affect us. So in the case of the hurricane, are you staying? Are you going? Are you staying with family members? Are you putting shutters up? Are you boarding your windows? What type of things do you need to do to make you feel secure? And you need to put that plan in place. And the second is to prepare. So when we do all of those things and there's tons of suggestions, and fortunately, the media has come a long way in keeping us prepared with what we need to know and the resources that are available. And there's some great groups on Facebook that I'd like to thank for their diligence in sharing some of that information with us. But when we have all those resources at our disposal and we can put a plan in place for what we need to do for ourselves, and we take the necessary precautions and we prepare for the best outcome for ourselves, we are taking some control over how that outcome will affect us and what the impact will be. Now, obviously, in cases like disasters, national disasters and hurricanes, there will be things that we definitely cannot predict and cannot control. And that's why it's important for us to do the best we can with the knowledge that we have. So it does alleviate some of that fear of not being in control of the situation. So we need to prepare. And the third tip for Irma, don't panic. Panic is fear turned inside out. And panic does not make the situation any better. Panic makes it much worse. And so it's really imperative that we take control of ourselves and we do the necessary things to keep ourselves calm and follow through with the plans that we need to keep ourselves safe and secure. And in a lot of cases, we need to just keep that vibration high, stay away from the fray. Don't watch every minute of every newscast because there's so much information that is repetitive. And all it does is really just lower our vibration and create more panic within us. So it's really important that we do everything we can personally to keep our vibration high, meditate, pray, stay active, keep working. Life does go on with any transition. Life does go on. So it's really important for us to keep the flow going. Don't lose momentum, because that's when the fear sets in, is when we're in unknown, uncharted territory. So stay in your flow, create a high vibration, put on some nice soothing music, whatever it takes. Enjoy the sunshine while we have it. Take a walk in nature. Have gratitude for the fact that we do have this beautiful weather, and regardless of what transpires, the sun will shine again. So stay positive, stay focused, and be sure to be in touch with your loved ones and know what everybody's plan is, so that you don't have that panic at the end. You want to be able to stay in control as well. So for everyone in South Florida and the islands and in Puerto Rico, I know many South Floridians have family and friends who are in the islands as well. Wishing us all a safe journey through Irma's wrath. And let's pray and manifest a very positive outcome, which this morning I did wake up and see that she was veering a little bit more, the models were veering a little bit more to the right of South Florida. So if we all keep our intentions focused on the best possible outcome, and wishing Irma a happy goodbye out in the ocean and a good resolve for us, then let's all put that out to the universe together. And Irma will realize she just ain't welcome here. So wishing everyone safety throughout, and please stay calm. And with that being said, today's topic is about taking action in change, through change, harnessing that power of change to take action toward the life we want to create for ourselves. So interestingly enough, the message at church on Sunday was about taking action. So I actually am paraphrasing some of what that message was about, because it was powerful and it was exactly what I had planned to speak about today. So I am paraphrasing some of that, and I think it's really important for us to understand that nothing will change if we don't take action. So if there's something in your life that is not working, then following all the other steps, now it's time to take the action that we need to take to move forward. So one of the interesting words that came up on Sunday, and I thought this was really valuable, and I am referring to my notes because I want to be sure that I do get all my points across. The word is someday. How many of us want to make changes, and there's things that we know we need to do to get to where we want to go, and we keep saying, someday I'm going to. Someday I will. Someday. And interestingly enough, we've probably all said it at some point in time. Someday I would like to. And we all know that someday usually doesn't come. Someday is not a plan. And so when we don't have that plan in place, there again, key element in making any change in your life. If we don't have that plan in place for what it is that we want, and we don't have the vision for how we want to get there, if you've been following me, you know I'm all about the vision map, having that vision for what your life to be. If we don't have that plan in place and we depend on someday may never happen. There was an interesting quote also. Zig Ziglar said, hoping is not a strategy. And so there again, someday is not a goal. Someday is not a plan. So we really need to think about, what do we need to do to take action and to make things happen? So the first thing we need to do is stop procrastinating. Someday gives us an excuse to procrastinate. It's like saying, well, I'm trying to get there. Well, if you're trying to, you will never get there because you do not have a definitive way to get there. You're trying. We will try a lot of different things. And what basically all that is procrastination. It's putting off doing what we need to do to get to where we want to go. So we need to just start. Put one foot in front of the other. I talked about this in one of the previous weeks about how we just have to take baby steps. When I offer my 21 days of tips for transformation, daily tips, that's exactly what it is. They're subtle little changes on a daily basis. Subtle changes that will get you there. So it's the same premise. Just start. Take a step. And then put one foot in front of the other. But we need to start somewhere and stop putting off the things that we know we need to change to transform our life, to bring us the life that we desire, or rather to create. We do bring it by focusing and having the vision for it, but we need to take the action steps to get that motion going, create momentum, one foot in front of the other. Take the first step. One of the quotes from Sunday's sermon was, farmers who wait for perfect weather never plant. And if you think about that, that's in many cases in our own lives. You know, we wait for the perfect time to go back to school, or in some cases, you know, you wait for the perfect time to have a baby, or you wait for the perfect time to get married, whatever it is. There is no perfect time. If we wait for the perfect time, it will never happen. So let's stop procrastinating. The second thing we need to do is to can the excuses. Stop all the excuses. You know, we all have them. I'm too old. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough money. We have tons of excuses. I call it monkey brain. It's all the little things, the excuses we make up to keep ourselves from taking that action. So we need to get rid of those excuses and start taking responsibility for our own life. We're allowing our conditioning and the things we've been told and the things that we've told ourselves over and over again to take control. And instead, we need to take responsibility for our own life. Growth does not happen if we don't take responsibility. So really important that we assume that responsibility for our own life. And the third thing is, don't worry about being awkward or not being ready or not being able to for whatever reason. Okay. Think about going to the gym the first time you went to the gym. It felt strange because everybody around you knew their way around. They knew the machines. They knew what they were doing. But once we were properly trained and we knew what we were doing and we got into our regular routine, we fell right in. So if we don't embrace the awkwardness of circumstances, we will never start anything. There are so many things. I remember the first time I started preparing for a marathon, and here I was with seasoned marathon runners. And not only did I not know a lot of the ins and outs of what I needed to know to make progress to be able to complete the marathon, but I learned so much from the people who are already doing it. And so when we learn to embrace our own awkwardness and we learn to be humble and accept the fact that we do not know everything, and there are people who have been there before and we can learn from them, be it coaches, mentors, trainers, whatever the case may be, we need to humble ourselves so that we can learn and we can move forward. And that's what all of this is about. All of the tools for transformation, it's all about moving forward in our life, not staying stuck, and being able to do what it is we want to and need to do so that we can move forward and create the life that we want for ourselves. We do not get anywhere staying stagnant. I talked about this in one of the previous recordings. Okay, stagnant doesn't happen. Life is happening too quickly around us. We need to keep up. So we need to be a little humble. We're not going to be good at everything the first time out. Even after having not ridden a bike for a long time, it takes a little while to get back on that bike. So we really need to know that, we're going to have those awkward moments. And you know what? Those are the fun times. It's always fun to relearn things and to realize that, don't take everything so seriously. Everyone has started from somewhere. Everyone has had the awkward moments. So when we walk into a situation where we feel like we're the only ones who don't know how to do this, well, guess what? Everyone who has been there before us. And so they can only help us, guide us through. So we need to be humble and let go of that feeling. And awkwardness can be fun sometimes. Make it fun. Learn to laugh at yourself. Don't take life so seriously. So don't let fear keep you from taking action, because not taking action does not help us progress. It doesn't help us get what we want in life. We need to step out of our comfort zone. That is the only way we will learn to grow. So today's the day. Today is the day to start taking action towards the life that you want to create for yourself. It's the time to utilize the tools for transformation that we've been talking about, and to make the changes that you need to make. Be a little uncomfortable. Step out of that comfort zone. It is the only way that you'll grow and get what you really want for yourself. So today is the day. I'm running a little over today because I was busy talking about Irma. So to wrap it up, I will have some new topics for next week. I actually will be sending out a survey asking what it is you would like to learn from me and what you would like me to share with you. So I'll be sending out a survey about that, all about tools for transformation and the things that we need to do for ourselves to create the life that we want for ourselves. Also, you can still get in touch with me for the 21 days of daily tips in your email box, 21 days to change that habit and start getting in momentum, creating momentum for creating change in your life. Just message me here on Facebook, or you can message me on my website at ChristineCottagio.com. And as always, you can contact me on the web for a 30-minute complimentary consultation. So if you are looking for some clarity and direction and need to make some changes and want to know how I can help you with that, by all means, reach out. I do have a contact form. You can actually contact me through my Facebook page here, and it takes you directly to that contact form on my website, ChristineCottagio.com. So with that, make this a powerful Wednesday. Start taking action. Put the plans in place. Today's the day. And for all of those in Irma's path, please be safe. And we will talk to you next week on the call. Thanks for being here.